Imagine this. Imagine being so arrogant, so wrapped up in the illusion of your own power, that you forget the one rule you should have never broken. The people you step on eventually rise up. And when they rise up, they rise with a vengeance. That's exactly where Diddy is right now. A monster who thought nobody would ever check him, nobody would ever expose him, nobody would ever dare to pull the curtain back on his madness. And yet here we are. And this time, baby, it ain't Cassie, it ain't Kim, it ain't Misa, it ain't a dancer, it ain't a former artist, it ain't a random bystander shot in a nightclub. No, this time, the takedown is coming from inside his own circle, from his own people, from the men he trusted, the men he paid, the men he fed, the men he expected to bow down and fall in line. Nobody expected this twist. Nobody expected the mess to come from his own lawyer, the one man Diddy thought would never turn on him, the one man Diddy thought he owned. Marc Agnifilo, the big dog, the criminal defense superstar, the man Diddy believed would protect him from everything. But see, there's always a crack. When you build an empire on lies, the foundation is always rotting. When you build your house on fear, the people inside eventually turn their backs. When you build your kingdom on manipulating, drugging, intimidating, and filming people without consent, eventually somebody who knows the rules better than you does something devastating. They get angry, and Marc Agnifilo is not just angry. He is humiliated. He is exposed. He is betrayed. He is sick to his stomach because now the world knows what he never wanted anybody to see. The footage in that documentary wasn't just embarrassing for Diddy. It was embarrassing for the entire legal team, because while Diddy was pacing, snapping, barking instructions like a tyrant on his own downfall, his lawyer, this world-renowned legal mastermind, got caught on tape being talked to like a child. And he didn't even know the camera was rolling. That's where the rage comes from. Not just betrayal, not just humiliation. It's the realization that Diddy didn't see him as a professional. He saw him as a tool, as an extension of his ego, as a puppet he could pull around like everybody else. Think about the irony. Marc spent years arguing in courtrooms that victims had consensual relationships with Diddy. He stood there with a straight face and said these women had reasons to lie. He stood there and dismissed allegations. He stood there and protected a man who now has him on camera, looking like a fool. And the cherry on top, he didn't consent to any of it. Now he finally understands consent. Now he finally understands what it feels like for someone to steal your agency. Now he finally understands what it feels like to be used. The same defense he used against the women. The same excuses. The same arrogance. Now he's the one with a secret tape floating around the world with his name attached. And baby, you can feel the anger radiating through the legal system. They're whispering, they're scrambling, they're calling emergency meetings, they're asking themselves, how much did he record? How long has he been recording us? What else does Netflix have? What else did 50 buy? What else is out there sitting in someone's basement? What else did this man document for his ego? What else is about to come crashing down on all of us? Because this isn't just about one clip. This is about every phone call, every closed-door conversation, every argument, every legal strategy session, all of it possibly on tape. And if even one of those recordings shows something that violates ethics, baby, the whole defense collapses. That's why Marc is furious. That's why Garagos is furious. That's why half of the legal team is allegedly distancing themselves. That's why lawyers have been quitting, one by one, claiming, quote, ethical issues. Because they don't know what Diddy recorded. They don't know when he recorded it. They don't know how much he recorded. They don't know WHO was on those calls. But they know one thing for certain. If any of those tapes reveal even a shred of improper conduct, a hint of coaching, a hint of covering up, a hint of witness influence, a hint of playing with the jury baby, that's the ballgame. That's prison. Not for Diddy. He's already on that road. I'm talking for the lawyers. And the anger, the humiliation, the betrayal, it comes from the fact that Diddy didn't even care. He didn't respect them enough to even warn them. He thought he was above the law, above the court, above common sense. He was filming like this was a reality show. Like he was doing a confessional for Bad Boy Season 28. Imagine being his lawyer and realizing he may have taped every strategy session like a YouTuber filming a vlog. Imagine realizing he was documenting your reactions, your advice, your arguments, your doubts, your frustration. And he thought he would use it for a victory documentary. He thought he would be sitting in a premiere, laughing, showing the world how he beat the system again. Instead, Netflix got it. 50 Cent got it. The world got it. The feds got it. And you, the lawyer, are now the clown in someone else's circus. This is why Marc is allegedly raging, not because the footage went out, not because Netflix embarrassed his client, not because 50 is clowning online. Marc is raging because Diddy made him look like a fool. Let's go deeper. Let's get into the psychology. Diddy is a control freak, a manipulator, a man who thrives off power and secrecy, a man who believes everyone is his possession. And in his twisted mind, recording his lawyer wasn't a violation. It was insurance, control, a weapon, because Diddy has always operated with blackmail as a tool. He films everyone. He documents everything because he doesn't trust anyone, not even the people hired to save him. Think about the pattern. How many artists said Diddy recorded them? How many assistants said he wanted cameras everywhere? How many survivors said he filmed things without their permission? How many videographers said he made them hand over all footage? How many employees said he had archives of people at their lowest moments? Marc is just the latest victim of a long-running pattern. But now the tables turned. Now Marc is the one who feels violated. Now Marc is the one who feels used. Now Marc is the one who feels manipulated. Now Marc is the one who feels like nobody asked for his consent. And now Netflix has him tucked in a documentary next to a screaming client, looking incompetent. That's the betrayal. That's the anger. That's the humiliation. But hear me, party crashers. This goes deeper. Let's talk about why this is dangerous for Diddy on a legal level. When you record your lawyer, when you secretly tape attorney-client conversations, when you do it without informing them, when you store that footage, when that footage ends up in the hands of a media company, when that company uses even a piece of it, you destroy attorney-client privilege completely. That means prosecutors can subpoena everything, every file, every message, every recording, every note, every conversation, because the privilege is gone. He blew it. He nuked his own defense, out of ego, out of arrogance, out of self-worship. He wanted a behind-the-scenes victory documentary. Now it's evidence. Do you understand how catastrophic that is? Do you understand how insane that is? Do you understand how self-destructive that is? Diddy didn't just betray his lawyer. He sabotaged his own case. And the lawyers are panicking because they don't know what the feds now have access to. You can hear it in Garrigo's voice. That frustration, that tension, that I don't know what else is out there tightness. They're terrified that their conversations, their private strategy, might now be in government hands. And baby, you could feel the pain in his voice when he said he used to meet clients under freeway bridges out of paranoia. And now he realizes he wasn't paranoid enough for this client. Let's get to the juicy part. Let's get to the real breakdown, because I know y'all hear it too. If Diddy recorded Marc, he recorded everybody, every lawyer, every strategy meeting, every call, every debate, every disagreement, every meltdown, every we losing, every tell the jurors this, every find out what the witness is doing, every the public doesn't need to know that. Every we need to spin this differently. Every that girl is lying. Every we can flip this. Every we need to bury that story. Everything. The legal team didn't quit because of ethics. They quit because they realized he had footage of them. Footage of conversations they didn't want anyone to hear. Footage that could put their careers on the line. And now Netflix, 50 Cent, the feds, and the court of public opinion have it. Let's go even deeper. Marc was proud of that acquittal years ago. He rode home on a high. He talked about that case like it was the Super Bowl. His wife was bragging about his closing arguments. People were in elevators congratulating him like he won a medal. He thought he cemented his legacy defending a powerful man. And now that same powerful man exposed him to the world as a puppet with a camera shoved in his face. And the worst part? Diddy wasn't even kind about it. He was yelling at him, talking down to him, blaming him, accusing him of losing the case before it even started. Imagine being a lawyer, someone with a reputation, someone with training, someone with awards, and getting cussed out by a man who put himself in the situation in the first place. Imagine hearing yourself on camera sounding like you're being scolded by a client who doesn't even respect you. Imagine watching Netflix broadcast your worst professional moment to millions of people. Imagine realizing the man who paid you $20 million still treated you like a peasant. No lawyer can swallow that. No lawyer can brush that off. That's professional humiliation. That's career damage. That's reputation suicide. And it's all because Diddy's controlling, manipulative ego couldn't resist recording everything. Now let's bring this home. This is bigger than a tape. Bigger than Diddy. Bigger than Marc. Bigger than Netflix. Bigger than 50. This moment proves something the survivors said for years. Diddy never respected consent. Not with women, not with artists, not with friends, not with assistants, and not even with his own lawyer. Consent meant nothing to him. Boundaries meant nothing to him. Privacy meant nothing to him. People meant nothing to him. Power meant everything. Control meant everything. Dominance meant everything. And now, his downfall means everything. And the most poetic part? The fall didn't come from a woman he abused. It didn't come from a man he threatened. It didn't come from a producer he assaulted. It didn't come from a videographer he underpaid. It didn't even come from the feds. It came from his own hubris, his own camera, his own footage, his own mouth, his own betrayal. The very thing he used to control people is now the very thing destroying him. The very recordings he made to glorify himself are now the recordings being used to bury him. And the very lawyer he thought he owned may now become the man who unintentionally helps the world understand who Diddy really is. Party crashers, listen to me carefully. This is not the end. This is not even the middle. This is the beginning of the avalanche. If this one tape made Netflix, imagine what's still hidden. Imagine what hasn't leaked. Imagine what the feds are sorting through. Imagine what the grand jury's hearing. We ain't seen nothing yet, and Diddy ain't running the narrative no more. He lost that privilege the second he violated the wrong person. This man didn't fear the women. He didn't fear the artists. He didn't fear the public. But now he fears the lawyers, because when the lawyers turn, oh baby, somebody's going to prison. Now, party crashers, before we continue tearing this story apart in the next video, make sure you drop a comment and let me know, when did you realize Diddy didn't respect consent? Was it the Cassie allegations? Was it Kim Porter? Was it the nightclub shooting? Was it the videographers? Or was it this, when he recorded his own legal team? Let me know, because we need to unpack this together. And don't forget, stick around, because the next breakdown, oh baby, it's even darker. Let me tell you something right now. This is the moment where all that slick talk, all that arrogance, all that I'm untouchable, I'm powerful, I'm above everybody, energy starts boomeranging back around and busting people in the face. This is that season, because what we are watching with Diddy, with this lawyer, with this documentary, with all these tapes, with this so-called privilege he thought he had over everybody, this is spiritual. This is legal, this is karmic, this is cosmic. This is what happens when you play with dark energy for decades and think the bill will never come. Party crashers, get comfortable. Hit the like button right now. Drop a comment and tell me, do you think this is karma, coincidence, or the devil coming to collect the debt? Because by the time I'm done, you're going to see this is bigger than gossip. This is a reckoning. Let's start right here. When you decide you're going to operate like a demon, sleep with demons, work with demons, defend demons, and collect checks off demonic behavior, don't you dare act surprised when the same energy turns around and bites you. You don't get to dance with the devil and then cry when you get burned. You don't get to stand in court defending a monster, mocking victims, twisting consent, laughing at survivors, and then suddenly discover you care about privacy and violation when it happens to you. That is exactly what we're seeing with this lawyer. This man walked into that courtroom as Diddy's champion. He took the money. He stood up there and did what defense attorneys do. He attacked credibility. He minimized harm. He framed abuse as, quote, complicated love. He talked like money equals forgiveness. He had no problem poking holes in women's stories, laughing at the idea of real victims, painting Diddy as misunderstood instead of dangerous. And now he's screaming about being violated. Now he's suddenly learning the word consent. Now he's shocked that a man capable of tormenting others, hates, is capable of turning on him too. You were never exempt. You were never special. You were never safe. You were just next in line. When you stand too close to a snake, you are not above being bitten. You are the easiest one to bite. You right there at the fang level. People have been telling us for years, this man records everything. Everything. His parties, his hotel rooms, his artists, his staff, his lovers, his friends, his enemies. He records phone calls. He records random interactions. He records chaos. He records humiliation. He records people at their lowest so he can hold it over their heads later. That's his whole operating system. I own you because I got you on tape. And these lawyers thought, what? That he wasn't going to treat them the same way? That a man who didn't respect women, didn't respect kids, didn't respect artists, didn't respect employees, somehow respected attorneys because they wore a suit and had a license? No. The devil doesn't stop and say, oh wait, you went to law school, I'll treat you better. No. You stand next to wickedness, you get wickedness. You defend evil, you breathe evil. You cover for a demon, you become a part of the demonic ecosystem. That's what's happening here. Diddy recorded his own lawyer, recorded their conversations, recorded his rants, recorded their strategy, recorded private legal discussions like it was a behind-the-scenes reality show. And he didn't do it because he respected the process. He did it because his ego wanted proof that H.E. was the mastermind. H.E. was the genius. He beat the case. He ran the team. This man really thought he was going to beat everything, take those tapes, and cut a documentary about his own comeback. He thought this was going to be a victory parade. Watch how I beat the system again. Watch how I outsmart everybody. Watch how my lawyers dance for me. He wanted a flex tape. And instead, the universe said, no, baby, this is evidence. Now those same recordings are out in the world, in the hands of a man who does not like him, in the hands of a platform that isn't protecting him, in the hands of a public that is no longer enchanted by his shine, in the hands of a legal system that is looking for patterns, not excuses. You cannot tell me that's not spiritual alignment. He got 50 months. 50 Cent dropped a documentary. The timing, the symbolism, the layers. I don't believe in coincidence like that. That's alignment. The courts gave him numbers. The culture gave him narrative. And that story is going to outlive his sentence. That documentary is the real prison, because that's his legacy now. Not the music, not the parties, not the brand, the truth. And the lawyers, they are stuck in the middle. On one side, they have a client who recorded them and humiliated them. On the other side, they have a public finally seeing what it looks like when you sell your skills, your ethics, your spirit to defend a demon. They don't just look foolish. They look complicit. It's not he fooled them. It's they helped him. And now the energy they helped protect is circling back and eating them alive. Let's talk about attorney-client privilege for a second, but let's talk about it emotionally, not just legally. Attorney-client privilege is supposed to be sacred. It's the one space where a client can confess, strategize, break down, and the lawyer must guard that with their life. That's the oath the lawyer takes. But the client doesn't take an oath. The client is not obligated to honor that the same way. And with someone like Diddy, who sees human beings as tools and toys, what do you think he did with that sacred space? He turned it into content. He turned it into leverage. He turned it into another performance. He didn't see that as holy. He saw it as an angle. Now, from a legal standpoint, once those conversations hit the public, that privilege is shattered. If he taped those calls without the lawyer knowing and then handed those tapes off to someone else, that's not protecting your rights. That's you nuking your own protection because your ego needed a camera rolling. And now the lawyers are scared. Now they're thinking back to every meeting, every sip of water, every late night call, every hallway conversation, every time they said, we need the dirtiest of the dirty in the business of dirty. every time they laughed at victims, every time they helped spin abuse as love. Now they're wondering, did he tape that too? Did someone else get a copy? Did 50 see it? Do the feds have it? Is there more going to drop? Because if those tapes show even a hint that they blurred the line between defense and deception, that's not just embarrassing. That's career ending. That's disbarment. That's investigation. That's their name tied to a collapsing empire. All that dirty money suddenly doesn't feel so clean. All money is not good money. You can't cry about ethics after you already cashed the check from the demon you chose to help keep free. You knew what you were walking into. You knew his reputation. You saw the allegations. You saw the pattern. You heard the stories. You decided, I'm going to stand next to that anyway because the bag is big enough. Okay, stand next to it, but don't act shocked when that same darkness spills onto you. You defended him when he faced accusations about recording women without consent. You defended him when people said he humiliated folks, filmed them, kept tapes as control. You defended him when survivors said they were handled like property. Now look at you. Now you're the one filmed without consent. Now you're the one being publicly embarrassed. Now you're the one feeling violated. Now you're the one realizing your humanity was just another casualty to him. You just got a light taste of what the victims felt. And I'm not saying it's the same, because there's a difference between being recorded and being abused, dragged, beat, threatened, drugged, and taped. But this right here is the universe showing him through you. You don't like how that feels, do you? You don't like being stripped of privacy, do you? You don't like having your image controlled by somebody else, do you? You don't like being part of a story you didn't agree to, do you? You defended a devil, and now the devil is tap dancing on your reputation. Meanwhile, 50 is sitting back like a dragon sitting on treasure. People keep saying it. We don't even know what's on the rest of those tapes. What we saw in the documentary was curated. It was edited. It was the tip of the iceberg. If this is what made it to Netflix, what is sitting in the vault? What's sitting on hard drives? What's on those drives that lawyers, artists, executives, influencers, and powerful people are praying never gets out? And you better believe a man like 50 is not dumb about that. He knows exactly what he's holding. He knows exactly what kind of bomb he just dropped and how much more he can drop if he wants to. That's why I say, Diddy is not just dealing with the court system. He is dealing with narrative warfare, and right now he is losing on every front. Let's talk about the juries too, because that keeps coming up. How many times have we seen cases where the jury got starstruck, distracted, or influenced? People keep bringing up how back then folks didn't see a predator. They saw a superstar. They saw money. They saw fame. They saw an invitation to the party, not the bodies behind the party. Jury members giggling, taking in celebrity energy, wanting proximity instead of justice. And now, years later, people are looking at that and saying, y'all let a monster walk because you were impressed by his shine. It's disturbing when you think about it. And it makes this fall feel even heavier because the world realizes how many misses there were, how many times he should have been stopped before we got here. And now we're in the awakening stage. Spiritually, socially, emotionally, people are waking up and going, wait. If someone is capable of doing all this to one group of people, they're capable of doing it to anybody. That includes his lawyers. That includes his friends. That includes his partners. That includes his artists. That includes us. The veil is off. The spell is broken. You can feel it in the way people are talking. They're not saying, oh, this is crazy, that can't be true. They're saying, I always knew something was off. I never trusted him. I believed he did that to Big. I believed he played a role in Peck stuff. I believed the worst. I've been new. That's not shock. That's confirmation. Meanwhile, Marc is pacing, probably replaying every moment in his head. Every time he laughed off victims. Every time he called abuse love. Every time he told himself, I'm just doing my job. Every time he convinced himself there was no real harm in what he was defending. Now he's the one feeling exploited by that same man. And here's the real raw part. People do not feel sorry for him. Not like that. There's not a lot of sympathy. There's a lot of, you reap what you sow. You chose this. You thought you were special. You thought you could stand next to evil and not get burned. You thought being on the winning team made you immune. But when you help a predator escape a cage, you're not neutral. You're part of the reason he had time to hurt more people. You're part of the reason survivors had to wait for justice. You're part of the reason this monster stayed in circulation. So now that same monster turned his teeth on you. And the world is saying, no, we're not crying for you. We're watching. We're taking notes. We're seeing how God works. We're seeing how karma works. We're seeing how every seed that was planted in darkness is starting to bloom in public. And the most chilling part? This is just the beginning. You feel that? That heaviness in the culture? That's not just scandal. That's spiritual pressure building. Darkness always turns on itself eventually. Demonic energy is cannibalistic. Evil eats evil. It might look like they're all hugging and winning and laughing at the top, but give it enough time, and they start devouring each other. Diddy built an entire world on control, exploitation, and documentation. He wanted receipts on everybody. He wanted compromising footage. He wanted insurance in case anyone turned on him. Now, those receipts are receipts on him. Those recordings are a paper trail on him. Those tapes are mirrors, not weapons. He tried to control the narrative. Now, the narrative is choking him. Party crashers, I want y'all to really think about this. If he was willing to secretly tape his own legal team, what do you think he did to the dancers, to the background singers, to the friends at those wild parties, to the kids running around the house, to the girlfriends, to the wives, to the random people who walked through his orbit? He has made a habit of violating consent at every level. Physical consent, emotional consent, digital consent, legal consent. And the reason this moment feels so heavy is because even the people who are supposed to be on his side are finally feeling what everybody else felt. And that's why the public doesn't want to let this go. People are like, no, keep talking about it, keep breaking it down, keep naming what happened, keep giving survivors a place to be heard. Keep reminding us that this is not just gossip, this is a case study in what happens when we let money and fame override morality. This is a warning to lawyers, to artists, to executives, to influencers, to anybody who believes they can profit from evil and never be touched by it. You might not get dragged the same way. You might not go to prison. You might not trend. But your compromise will cost you something. Your peace, your sleep, your reputation, your opportunities, your legacy. Because once the lights come on, people remember who stood where, who took which side, who laughed, who defended, who blamed victims, who called evil love. So when this lawyer sits there now, suddenly violated, suddenly outraged, suddenly ready to talk ethics, I want him to remember every "there are no real victims here" argument he made. I want him to remember how easy it was for him to tell other people to just move on because they got paid. How does it feel now? To be the one who got paid and still got played? Money doesn't erase violation, does it? Money doesn't undo humiliation, does it? Money doesn't restore your dignity once a man has used you and thrown you in front of the world as a prop in his own story, does it? That's what the survivors have been saying the whole time. You just finally joined the club. Welcome. Party crashers, I want you to drop a comment and tell me this. Do you think this lawyer deserves sympathy? Do you think this is straight karma? Do you think he'll flip and start talking now that privilege is broken? Do you think more tapes are coming? And are you ready if the next documentary is not just about Diddy, but all the other demons he's connected to? Because trust me when I tell you, this is not over. This is the first crack in the wall. And over here on the Messy Sweet Spot, we are going to keep pulling on every loose thread until the whole costume falls off and every monster standing behind this man is exposed. Like this video. Make sure you're subscribed, get in the comments, and sound off. We are not just watching a scandal. We are watching the collapse of an entire era of evil that thought it would never have to answer to anybody. And baby, the answer is here now.